Everything should be good. And I'm excited, man. How are you doing, Enjoi?
I'm doing great. I am currently watching an ad on Twitch, which is, I don't know if I got to pay for extra membership or something, so I could just jump right into these things. But yeah, growing pains, growing pains.
Oh, no, man. It's all good. Ah, man, there's lots to talk about. Lots of stuff that's been happening. Been kind of a weird day. I guess just right off the bat, we were hoping to have AK with us, but he wasn't feeling so great. So we'll get him a different time for sure.
Yeah, we'll bump into the Saturday extras.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
if you guys didn't weren't able to catch us on this last Saturday, we had Indus on. Dude is just a savant. The dude is so smart. He's really got the whole battle system figured out. I would almost consider that episode a must watch.
Oh,
Uh,
absolutely.
I've already listened to it again, and I'm thinking about how to kind of revamp my team. So yeah, I think there's a lot there, and I'm gonna have to listen to it a few more times.
Yeah, I've been playing around with it. I think that obviously he knows what he's talking about, and I'm doing my best to implement some of the things he's talking about. But
Right?
I'm not sure I have the Axies yet. I'm still working on sorting through that. Also, I think sometimes you put a team together, and it takes a while to get used to the ins and outs of the cards that you have and how they stack up against other people too. But I don't know. You and I have talked about it before. Like, it's hard to switch over to a different team when you're having fairly good success with the team that you have. Yeah, maybe it's not top tier, getting you to the top tier levels, but I still win 60 to 70% of the time with kind of my base team. So, you
Right.
know,
And that was something I was thinking about too, is I've done the same thing. I've tried a few more teams and I keep going back to the same old one that is apparently full of land dwellers. And I think it really just comes back to comfort, right? Because I've played with that team so much, I know exactly what to do in this situation, or maybe I'm going to wait for them to do something so that I can pull off a combo or whatever. And maybe I just got to stick with some of those new teams and figure it, just figure out what those combinations look like, and how to use them in certain situations. So I don't know. We'll keep playing with it over time.
yeah, yeah.
Um, I've got some news for you though,
Oh,
because
yeah?
we just yeah, we just started doing these Axie extras a few weeks back because we had so much interest from people to come on and share their story and
Right, right.
talk about their perspectives. And I actually got our first request into the Axie Chat Twitter right before we started today, from an Axie who wanted to come on the show.
No.
Um, Absolutely. So Axia, Axie number 265. I don't know if you've seen, but they've been on. They've actually had a Twitter account. So I did a little bit of digging after this. They've had a Twitter account since December 2019. So they've been around for almost a year. Whoever owns this thing.
No, that's that
Still,
triple, right? That's the
it's
triple aqua.
it's a triple who sold on I want to say Saturday,
180, right?
to a mystery just ETH address. There's no name associated with the account. But anyways, I got a message that said, "Humans of Axie Chat, there will soon come a day when it will make sense for us to work together on an episode. I look forward to it," and nothing else.
That is amazing.
So I don't know.
I'm
I'm
looking
playing with
forward to
this,
it.
and one part of me wants it to be like the same kind of AI system that Small Brown Doge came in with the potato, and like us actually talking to an Axie. That'd be really
Oh, man.
kind of entertaining. But on the other side, again, nobody seems to know who this person is who owns this. Ah, I don't
That's
I don't know.
amazing.
I don't know.
I love that account. Duckface and that account, I just think there's going to be more and more creative stuff happening. Small brown potato, like you said, all that stuff. Hopefully, Greg starts up Greg just sold too. Hopefully, we get a Twitter from Greg here as well. It'd be fun
and
to have a couple Axies on, right?
Yeah, and you brought up an interesting point. When I was reading that, I actually thought of the Duckface 58 account. It'd be funny to have Duckface
Quack,
come in
quack,
and give
quack.
give little pips about their thoughts about Psych Out every once in a while.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, I mean that leads us into more big news, right? Is we've had a few pretty large sales over the last couple of days that
Yes.
for whatever reason, have kind of flown under the radar.
Yeah, I mean, I of course we're paying attention to everything that's going on. So Duckface is here, but Jiho in
Yes.
the chat says he knows the buyer of that super rare triple mystic, which I think was it the first Aqua, or I don't know. It's a dang cool Axie.
Yeah, it is an aqua. Yeah,
Yeah,
and beautiful too.
yeah, incredible. So hey, let's look at this as we're going through the news, right? And Duckface, please quack away with us. Let us know what's good. And you know, 20,000 unique addresses, Axie holders. Like, remember when we were talking about how cool it would be to get 10K?
It feels like just yesterday. Yeah, I mean, these additional people have materialized, and I mean, 10K happened, I want to say a few weeks into the podcast. So we've been doing this for what, 3 months now?
Yeah, we
Is
had
that
Jiho. He
is that
announced it
correct?
right on the. It happened while we were on the podcast. It was
Yeah. So I
incredible.
mean, that was within 2 months going from 10K to 200K, and again, when I started, there were less than 700 people back in 2019. So um, the growth rate recently is just insane.
That's awesome.
Part of me wonders too, and we talked about this last time, is there was that account or those multiple accounts that were banned from the China SLP farm.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm kind of wondering too, is this more people catching on that, hey, there's money to be made, and starting up similar systems, or is this maybe they're creating new accounts, or I'm trying not to be
Cynical.
too excited, but
Yeah.
I'm also trying not to be too cynical too.
Right.
So I'm kind of weighing all these things in there, but it has been insane growth.
No, and either way, right? It's somebody's has to be playing these things. So I'm excited about it, no matter what it is. And you know, I kind of feel like if they get the technology down to kind of identify and stop the botting, then a lot of those things get solved, regardless of however all that turns out. But maybe
Sure.
that's just my opinion. We'll see how all that goes. Just need to protect the integrity of the ecosystem, the economy. Very, very important.
Well, and that's it. It's fun to see these giant charts, but you also want to make sure that we're doing it right, which is kind of why I keep bringing that up, because I do think that the team's handling it right. They keep putting in different safeguards to kind of protect against that, and obviously they're watching and potentially banning if they see something that's a little bit off. But again, I think it's a good sign that they're paying attention and that they're taking action before it really becomes an issue.
Right, right. No, which is wonderful. But what an exciting time! Incredible hockey stick growth. We're still seeing it. I think there's still plenty to be had in the space. When you look at the total number of gamers, there's going to be plenty. There's going to be plenty to happen. Yeah. Anyway, just in case you know.
Oh my God, I didn't even see the hat. Dude, Baronar's out buying his own merch right now. Please tell me that's not something I can buy too, because next time I go full on Baronar, I gotta
Oh,
represent.
it was just too much fun. I had that
Oh
idea and
my
I couldn't
God.
help myself. I
That's so
mean,
ridiculous.
normally I'm rocking the SpaceX hats, which are
For the
awesome
people
too. But
for the people listening, Baronar's got a black hat with his face emblazoned on it. No, it's just his logo, but it's still pretty funny.
oh man, I'm glad. You know, I had to point it out, but I'm glad you noticed it. Hey,
Wesley Ronald in chat says when Baronar underwear. So you've got buyers.
I love it. Right. Oh, it's so fun. So fun. All right. And hey, thanks for the sub again, Britt. The support you give us, we just sure appreciate it. You know, I'll get all choked up if I get into it too much, but thank you. We have to go through this again because it's just so fun to see Axie at the top of all these. They did update the logo. They've got the right logo now, which is great to see. Wallets, number one. Again, multiples of the rest of everybody that's on this list. Just incredible. So this is, for those listening, this is the top 5 wallets. And Axie is just, you know, multiples, 4 and 5 times the second place finishers.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, go
and
ahead.
what's interesting here too is can you click back real quick?
Yep, it's back.
The All right, just had to wait for it to upload. The sellers and buyers, I think, has been pretty steady for, the number 2 through number 5 positions over the last several weeks.
Right.
It does seem like the DApp active addresses has increased across the space, which I think is a good sign. Obviously, we've been getting a lot more attention with the price increases in Bitcoin and Ethereum. But again, going back to my past point, seeing those active addresses, I think, is really the benchmark of growth here. It's
Yep.
those are actually people that are using the game and participating in the ecosystem. So that's personally, that's kind of what I'm paying attention to.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely agree. And then, so looking at the USD, again, I still am not completely clear on the transferred, the DApp transferred. But USD from sales, Axie's more than double number 2, super rare at 603,000. Axie Infinity, and again, I'm not quite sure how I understand that second column. Super rare number 1, async art number 2, Axie Infinity coming in third with over 800,000 in the USD transferred. Still
Still
super
respectable.
incredible. Yep. And
Yeah, it's
again, good to
respect.
see other people in the space doing well, right?
Absolutely.
Yep. So long as we
Rising
stay ahead of
tides and all
CryptoPunks.
that. That and Crypto Kitties. Yeah, if they make a return, I'm cashing in my chips.
Oh, awesome. And then volume. To me, I love this one. This one speaks words to me. I mean, transactions is one thing. We know that there's going to be a ton of
Oh my
transactions, right?
God,
But
dude,
still,
look at
10
all that.
times.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
it's
sales, though,
insane.
8,000 sales in the Axie universe. And just so you know, we're going to be talking more, more. The chat's killing me. Sorry. If you're listening to the podcast, we love you and we want you to pay attention, and we love that you're listening in. It's wonderful. But sometime you got to hit live stream because the
The
chat's
the
just
They're all ridiculous. We're all ridiculous in here, and
it's just
it's
so
a
much
blast.
fun. Yep,
Um,
absolutely.
for those people who are listening back to, I know a lot of people have class or work or are sleeping right
Yeah,
now
yeah.
because we're on the other side of the planet. But just to cover this slide and its numbers, the DApp transactions, Axie's at 55,000 transactions for the week. Unstoppable domains in number 2, and quite frankly, they are being stopped by Axie Infinity right now.
Yeah,
I feel like a
unstoppable.
sports I feel like a
Bad name.
caster right now. Yeah, we're
Nice
kicking their
name.
ass. But yeah, they're rolling in at 5,800. So yeah, we're 10 times higher than them.
Oh man, and yeah, so Colfin War, and I was actually going to talk about this transactions, and we'll dovetail in later in the podcast here later in this stream. That's going to include just a reawakening of breeding, I believe, as well. I'm not. Let's see. This was for the 16th. Yeah, this was during a period of time where gas was a little bit more relaxed, and
Hmm.
there was a lot more breeding going on. So that becomes important. And I had a little bit of a conversation with Jiho, and I'll explain. He kind of pointed some things out to me that I don't know that it was completely obvious. It should have been obvious, but we'll talk about it, about what that means for the future as well. Because when you have that type of breeding, there's going to be fees that come in because that's what is charged every time there's a
Right.
breed, there's a fee, and that's slated to go to the community treasury. So we'll talk about what effect that maybe has long term.
Hmm.
So even though we
Yeah.
look at these transactions and say, hey, that's just transactions, well, some of those transactions are important.
Well, I'm just looking at it as, these are people that are actually using the game and finding value in the game, and
Right.
I don't know. I think that just kind of gives you the whole picture right there. It's stuff's
Yeah.
moving. People are buying, people are selling, all in one
Yeah.
piece. People
And
are breeding.
think about it this way, like Axie Infinity has found a way to make the chain useful. So the reason there's so many transactions, your people are not going to do transactions unless there's good reason to do a transaction because
Right.
those come with fees, you know?
Right. I mean, look at most of the NFT space. Most of them are dead projects or art projects, and nothing wrong with the whole art scene right now. But like you said, Axie's making, it's
A
found a
case
use case on
use,
top
yep,
of Ethereum that
exactly.
that actually makes sense and makes people want to use it, which has been the one big issue with Ethereum this whole time in the last 6, 7 years, whatever it's been. there's never been one killer app, and I'm starting to feel like, and again, maybe this is just because I've been around for a long time and I've bought in, but it feels like Axie's the first real killer app.
Well, and again, we still are pre-release on almost everything.
Right,
That's what's incredible. This is just
right.
what's available and can be used right now, and it's being held back again because of gas. Which there's pros. The reason gas is high is because Ethereum in the space is doing really well, right?
Right.
So I mean that's good. That's good, but on the other hand, that does limit our ability right now until other releases come. Um, and okay, so moving on, we had Indus, just as you said. You kind of already talked about this one, but got to check out our last Axie Chat Extra. He did just such a great job of explaining kind of the brain theory behind his success, and really tried to help coaching us and anybody who listens. I think is going to be well benefited if you're going to give it a shot in the PvP arena.
I mean, yeah, one of the big things I took away, and again, one of the reasons I wanted to have him on was he's been so helpful in getting new players up to speed and helping them come up with teams that are actually viable. And, when people show up and they ask me, or you, I feel like we're always pointing them to Indus because we're not going to do as good of a job. And,
Right.
there is a little bit of investment to get started, and you don't want to mislead people because if they start with a bad team, then maybe they give up. Our goal is to have people be successful in like what they're
Yep.
playing.
Yep.
And him just outlining some of these basic things that he looks for, and the order that he looks for those in when he's kind of trying to match people with a team. It's just super helpful.
Yeah. And I still can't help but get hung up more on interactions and abilities, and a balanced team that's based on just the basic interactions is going to have longer term success. And still sorting that still sorting that out for myself, but excited to continue to do it. And honestly, it's a big difference in the arena that you and I just try to get our our numbers so that we can click that daily button, right? Um,
Absolutely.
but it's a lot different in the tournament scene too, where you're going to see a whole bunch of different looks of really good players, and you're going to have a little bit more flexibility and teams available. And again, like people who are interested in the tournament scene, there are people I bet that are willing to, it's a trust based thing. You gotta do things right, or they can make an account that you could use potentially for a tournament situation. But I think that there's options out there. Like if you are interested and don't have the funds to just buy that super team, people like AK and others out there that have a pretty good set of breeding Axies, you ought to talk to them, see if there's something that can be done. So,
And that's something that Indus said when he was getting started out. He didn't have the cash for it. He hit up, I think, Chief at the time, and maybe AK. I know he did some breeding projects with AK to get you know, some ideal stat axes. But he had some sort of profit sharing agreement, and it all worked out. And
right.
now he's here with his own bunch of teams and just going ham. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different ways to get started, and I think a lot of people, if you're serious about it, or would probably be open to talking about it.
Yeah, and yeah, I remember, and Odin brought this up in the chat. It was Clash Royale that he actually was getting paid to coach people in Clash Royale. I've played a little Clash Royale; it's fun, and I'm looking forward to version 2. And it's going to be interesting to see because we know the team they're paying attention to Hearthstone, to Clash Royale, to Slay the Spire, other different types of games, and it'll be interesting to see what type of blend we end up with in Battles version 2, which really I guess is Battles beta maybe. We just have different words for it, right?
Right.
Okay, so continuing on, we kind of hit this too, but I just wanted to put a slide up. So what we have up for those that are listening is a slide of the 2 Triple Mystic sales that just happened here recently, which again is incredible with the Ethereum rise in price. 180 ETH for the aquatic, which I think is a 5/6 aquatic, if I'm looking at that right. Oh no, it's a 4/6. It's got the carrot and then a zigzag mouth, but still
Right.
absolutely beautiful. And then Greg sold for 160. And these were kind of out of the blue, right?
Yeah, out of the blue. I mean, Greg and Orr had a a pretty long-standing history. I know he loved that Axie. So, you know, congrats to the new owner. I think Boba Epicure picked that one up too, who made
Oh,
some
that's
big
right.
purchases the week before. And again, the 265 was picked up by a mystery buyer. Um, yeah, and I don't know if this is just because I've been busy with work and stuff, so I haven't been able to pay attention to Discord as much over the last couple of weeks, but I really feel like a lot of these sales are kind of going under the radar, and I'm not sure if it's because the marketplace has been so active with new people coming in, or if it's just because I'm not paying attention. But I've seen these. There was a couple doubles that sold over the last week,
Yep.
and actually I saw for people who are still maybe thinking you missed the bandwagon on Mystics, I saw a double sell yesterday for a pretty fair amount. I think like
17,
16 ETH,
18. Yeah.
seven, yeah, something like
Something,
that.
something.
And I saw a single today sell for, I want to say, was it 4.5? Which is a
Crazy.
pretty damn good deal. So,
Yeah, I mean,
um, you know,
ETH price is going up USD wise, so I can, we'll talk more about that too. But if you're looking for some of this information, I've been really impressed with just kind of putting a pitch out there for Axie World. It's got some great information, and Coco's doing a great job, and his group of really giving us some great statistical information, giving us some data about sales, including land, which is just great to have.
Yeah, and shout out to Clumsier too. I think Clumsier
Yeah,
does all the back end codings, putting together those graphs and charts and stuff. So
yeah, absolutely.
awesome work.
All right, well, let's go through the tokens. So, Axie, Axie Infinity shards, Axis, down a little bit. Again, we see ETH going up. This actually, I think, bumped down to 44 cents, and I couldn't stop myself. I grabbed some more. But we'll see what happens. I just don't believe that this is going anywhere but long term up. So I'm patient enough. Down from a week before, but again, interesting because ETH price has gone up. And I think I might have dropped an ETH, did I? Yeah, I think I'm already
Yeah,
getting it
yeah,
in the
you dropped
chat.
an F. You already got mad people in the chat. It's all right. Move forward. Next, you'll be calling it Bitic.
Big
Bit,
beats.
yeah,
This is a
All right, we need to move on. We're gonna chase people out of here.
all right. Okay, moving on. So small love potion. So SLP dropping. Figured this was going to happen. I mean, I don't know. Again, I never know for sure, but I've been waiting for it to come down. Another one that I'll probably acquire if it gets to a certain point that I have in my head. But it felt like it was the Binance launch that really kind of inflated that. What did you think, Enjoy?
Yeah, I mean, one of my big investment mindsets, that's probably not the right word, but one of the things I always look for when I'm making an investment or thinking about whether or not I'm going to stay in something is whether or not there's any catalysts coming up, right? So
Right.
with Axie, if you look at the roadmap, there's something going on, and then, Ronin's going to be coming out. We're going to have Battles V2 coming out. We're going to, all this stuff's happening. Obviously, SLP is a part of that, but in and of itself, that one particular token, again, the reasons it's pumped is because either somebody goes on 4chan and talks about it
Right.
and doesn't really know what they're talking about, or it's because it gets a lot of attention because Binance adds it, or whatever the case is, or the team maybe flicks a switch to make it a little bit harder to farm SLP, so less
Yep.
is going to be produced and more burned because of breeding. So that's the kind of stuff I look at.
Yep.
I agree with you. I think it was propped up because of some of those reasons mentioned before. I'm actually surprised that it's not in the 2 range already. If it can hold 3, I think that'd be
Oh, it's
freaking
great.
awesome.
I
I don't know what else
actually
to say.
holding 4 cents is fine by me. Like I'm good with it no matter how it goes. And I think you can actually make an argument that SLP ought to be higher than it is. But we'll just have to see how it goes. There's ways to argue both sides for sure. So I'm not ever gonna tell people that they're completely crazy if they think SLP price is going up. I feel like I already did that once and was shown over the past 90 days that I wasn't quite right about that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and I think you've got a slide on here too about the energy change, or you know the new change where you have to have a certain amount of axes to have a certain amount of energy.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, but that bumped up prices a little bit,
right,
and when Axie prices bump up, technically the SLP price should bump up too, because
correct.
more people would be buying it so that they could breed more to take advantage of the inflation in price. So
Yeah.
um, a lot
I,
of
I
things that
agree with
affect
you.
it.
I
Yeah.
think those two should be correlated stronger than they are. But, again, I'm not going to say I have the answers on this stuff. But yeah, I agree with your analysis, man. All right, so let's look at Woe just really quick. I felt like it was a little too low when we had it last time, and seems to be proven right. It's gone up. In fact, I think it may be up to 470 last time I checked.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
yeah, not completely sure about that, but I saw it moving around a little bit more than I thought. And again, like just look for origin axes and see what the price is for origin axes in the marketplace, and that should give you a really good sense as to where Woe ought to be, right?
Yep. And I think cheapest origin right now is 1.13 ETH or something like that. So again, the wrapped origins are um, they they have a lower breed count, so there's a little bit more benefit to owning one of
Right.
those WoW tokens.
Then just a
So it makes
floor.
sense that
Yep.
the price would be a little bit more than the floor price. Yeah.
Right, right, right. All right, and hey, thanks for the sub, Snorlax. Great to have you here. Appreciate it. Okay, and now I wanted to bring up this really cool article from a guy I know about it's a Enjoi. So I'm just highlighting Enjoi's article about leveling. I do think this is exactly the right time to have an article like this out there. And anybody who's wondering about trying to maximize their experience with their 20 energy really would do well to read this article on Axie Edge about the EXP leveling guide, because I think that that's just crucial now. Like when you have limited resources, you have to be smarter. That's just the truth. So you have to play more intelligently, and Enjoy has given you a really good model to follow, in my opinion, here with Axie Edge on EXP leveling. So good job, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
Of
Yeah, I
course.
mean, a lot of people have been asking for this stuff, and with that whole energy change, it just seemed like the right time to put something together. So I'm glad to see that a lot of people are taking advantage of it.
Yeah, good job. All right. Next, we've got a cool little update here. Actually, a couple little technical updates that I wanted to cover. So here on the slides, we have that Soichenhund put together from Axie Zone a server status page, which is wonderful. It lets us know if the different sites are up and functioning. So thanks to Soichenhund again. I mean, such an amazing contributor to the community. So grateful for everything he does with Axie Zone. So we've got Axie World, Axie Edge, Axie Zone, and they're all just rocking. So good job, guys. Great places to go. Then Psych Out also let us know that they've worked on some issues. There was some morphing issues; those are fixed. There was a
And that
price.
and that's been going on for a long time. So I know a lot of people are, there were every day people having issues with stuck axes. So yeah, long overdue there, but glad to see that's fixed.
Absolutely. The price feed, and I think that was related a little bit. The fix there was related a little bit to Chainlink. Is that right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yep.
Yep.
So that's awesome. So now, like when we look at our prices in the marketplace in ETH, they should be more correct to the USD.
Yep.
And then energy system issues. We were having some people losing energy, well, at least claiming to. I didn't ever see that issue personally, but a lot of people saw it, so it must have been legitimate. And it sounds like whatever that was got fixed as well. And then
Yeah.
also, yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was just gonna say, so with the energy system, a lot of people have also been asking. I'll just throw it in here. One, when does that update? So if you increase your amount of axes to get up to that next level, so you have more energy, it takes about 24 hours sometimes to completely update. And same with if you're breeding new axes too. If you all of a sudden have a new axie from breeding, same thing, 24 hours. So just
Right.
throwing that out there because again, a lot of people have been asking.
Yep. And 24-hour plus the around midnight UTC is when the updates happen for your account, is what it sounds like too, right?
Gotcha.
Yep. Okay, awesome. So this next slide is about the Bloom X, which I didn't know a ton about, but I saw on Twitter. I saw the announcement and I read through it. I saw on Twitter that they've announced that they've crossed 1,000,000 pesos traded through Bloom X, and this is SLP as well, I believe. SLP traded directly to. Uh, it's cash in, cash out, right? So it's just an ability for people to directly swap their SLP into fiat, right?
Yeah, so I've got Cuckoo in the chat, and he said that they're working with a licensed virtual currency exchanger in the Philippines. So SLP to pesos, big deal. And again, I think one of the biggest issues with crypto anywhere, even in the U.S., is cashing out to your native currency. So
Oh
I can
yeah.
imagine that would be even bigger deal out there. And he's saying that yeah, it's licensed. So
And what I understand is
big
this is
deal
through
there.
Facebook, right? I mean, this is like through Facebook Messenger. Cuckoo, can you tell us? Is that's right? I'm pretty sure that's what I saw. It was something that had a really easy entry point, like Facebook or something like that. So anyway,
He
we'll
says he
Messenger
says
bot.
yes, it's through
Yep.
Messenger bot. Yep.
Yeah, so I just love the innovation that's happening. I mean, Jiho in his last podcast talked again about the digital nation concept. I'm way huge into that. And I feel like the more innovation we have here, the more that integration of a digital world into the real world is kind of blending. It's kind of interconnecting and intermeshing. Um,
Yeah, and he's saying that soon they're going to do it through Discord bot too. So, talking about your
Sweet.
digital nation, everybody's congregating through Discord for this game. It makes sense to be able to cash out. Oh, and he says the funny thing is people are buying, not cashing out. That's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
hilarious.
No, that makes perfect sense. I mean, I was thinking about that too. Somebody said in Coinbase, they said they wanted to buy some Axis through Coinbase, and they're like, just push buy, and you can't do that right now. At
But
least
Coinbase did add access to their not to the actual like buy,
it's
currency
on their
exchange,
list.
but it's on the list, yeah,
Yeah,
which is interesting.
it is. It's awesome that it's on the list. I think that's fantastic. And so again, like I get that. Like it's really tough right now, right? Because the Ethereum price rises, Axis it lags a little bit. Man, this is a good case to pick up some Axis again. And again, NFA, DYOR, you do your own thing. But yeah, man, we're going to talk more about something that gets unlocked with respect to holders of Axis, stakers of Axis.
Oh
And
my God.
yeah, I'm excited.
Yo, real quick before we move on, while we're talking about kind of community innovations and since you mentioned Access, I just thought I'd mention too. It's not huge, but I ran into this week while just playing. Guy in the chat, I know he's a listener of the podcast. 99, never mind.
Yeah, yeah.
Shout out to him. I just thought this was cool. I noticed he had AXS in his team name, and some like percentages and stuff. And I messaged him afterwards, and I'm like, yo, what was that? And he's like, dude, every day I update my team name with the Access 24-hour price. Just
Ah,
just to, just to kind of a friendly courtey he wrote,
I love it.
to kind of keep people involved in what's going on in the system. So I just thought that was a cool idea.
That is.
People who are I don't know, just contributing in their own way, and it doesn't need to be huge, but I just thought it was a cool idea.
Yeah, I think that's super cool. Anything like that that just creates more excitement, kind of gives more information. I love it. So awesome. I love the innovation. That's wonderful. So I just want to make sure I didn't lose track of any thoughts as we're moving forward. So next, Jiho. This one was an easy listen, but fun, useful. I really liked it. I guess the guy that conducted it was from Greece. At first I was like, is this guy Russian? Or I couldn't tell for sure. But in the end, he said he was from Greece. Great interview. I loved it. Some questions from maybe more of a gaming slash crypto guy as opposed to somebody that's just a major Axie enthusiast like us.
Yep.
So it was fun to hear the questions that he had in a little bit different way than maybe you or I would ask them. Um,
Yeah, I thought it was a good overview of just kind of what Axie is for people, not initiated already. Um, Again, just a good overview. Most people who are listening to us probably know all that information.
Right.
So not sure that it's anything groundbreaking that you need to go listen to. Although of course go support the people who are interviewing
Oh yeah.
geos and doing other stuff in the space, because you might learn something about another game that's picking up speed or whatever. So and honestly, it was a great podcast in general. The thing that got me though, and maybe maybe hopefully Gio's not in here anymore, but I'm
No,
gonna
he's
call him
here.
out. He he secretly he quote unquote kind of secretly mentioned Project L.
Yeah.
They didn't ask about it. He just kind of threw it out as something that, I don't know. Did it sound like it might be coming up, or
Huh?
what
Huh?
was your take?
Well, he mentioned it. He said something about Project L. It wasn't really prompted. I don't know. Project L's come up a couple times. We'll talk more about some speculation and guesswork that we do. We always engage in that. So let's hold off
All right, all
for
right.
talking about Project L for just a minute, and let's keep going through the news space, and then we'll get into forecasting. That's our forte for sure. So one thing I noticed was on OpenSea, and Axie Infinity twittered it, put this out there on that Twittery thing. Anyway, they said they're number 2 on the OpenSea, and that's cool. But as you can tell by my slide here, for those that are here, those that are listening, I've got kind of a warning symbol up there. And I pulled the new marketplaces live from about a year ago. It was about a year ago when the new marketplace came up, by the way. Um,
Okay.
and it's interesting, you know, there have been some people on OpenSea that are buying banned Axies. And on OpenSea, as far as I'm aware, they aren't able to show that those are banned. Hopefully, OpenSea is working on integrating that. But it'd be kind of disappointing to purchase an Axie from OpenSea and find out that it was actually a banned Axie. Kind of a concern. So I put this up there, just reminder: the safest place to go to make sure that your Axies are probably in good shape, they'll at least be indicated if they're banned, is through Axie Infinity's marketplace.
Yeah, and probably a smart idea to check it out, especially considering the ban wave last week. I would assume that some of those people who were trying to get around the rules would be offloading if possible. Since the Axies aren't any use to them. So uh, I don't. Yeah,
Tough.
of course.
Yep.
Just keep an eye out for that sort of stuff.
And again, the marketplace is going to end up being a huge support for the community. So that money is going to end up going into a community treasury eventually here, once things are announced, and however whatever the final plan is. But yeah, it feels like maybe 4.25 is kind of big. But if that's going right back into supporting the community and supporting further development, then golly, it seems like if there's a good tax, that
Right.
seems like a pretty good tax. So, all right. But just be, I guess my main point here again was be wary. I mean, I'm glad that we're doing well on OpenSea. That's wonderful. But make sure you're being careful. Make sure that you're checking on things. I mean, this is real money, people. And there's no way to undo transactions on the blockchain almost all of the time.
Yeah.
Okay,
Fair
so
enough.
I wanted to point this out too, the strategic sale. And it's funny. In the Discord there are kind of people two ways about this, but I'm one way entirely about it. I think it's wonderful for the team. I think that a strategic sell for particular buyers makes a lot of sense. And one of the buyers, I kind of looked up because I wanted to know what on earth these people are, where they come from. But one of them I wanted to highlight was Three Arrows Capital. They were one of the participants. And these people have a lot of cryptocurrency holdings. These are big players. And one of the things that they own is Grayscale's, a percentage of Grayscale's Bitcoin fund. So I guess I just wanted to point out, like, there's a reason that that the strategic buyers for the private sale were put into place. And these are real players. You get in there, read through it, find out more about them. Like, it's going to, I believe that it's also partially a marketing tool to get the right type of people behind this project that are going to open doors, kind of like the Aave partnership that we have right now.
Right.
So anyway, don't be. Let's all be good about stuff. Don't be dicks about stuff. I mean, it's cool.
What?
Yeah, I mean, just because we didn't get to buy it for 8 cents or whatever, and I
Oh,
understand, but just calm down, folks. It's okay. It's gonna be good for all of us if we all hang in there, and push it and
dude,
see it happen.
who cares about 8 cents? Go buy
Exactly.
some land, go buy some Axies. You'll earn it for free, guys. Just
Exactly. Play to earn is gonna
get
happen.
involved.
Yep.
That's what it's all about.
100%. So that's Baronar's lecture for the day. I'm done.
All right, guys, I'm carrying the rest of this conversation. Next slide.
All right. So, hey, this tournament's coming up. I just got to
He's
keep
still
pushing it.
talking. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm super excited for this tournament. We do need to have more people sign up to make sure that this can happen this weekend. But man, the prizes are just freaking awesome. Yeah, it is a paid entry, but you're getting a chance to really rock some great prizes, some great sponsors here. Hit up T-Pen and Discord to find out what's going on. There's on here on the slide, it has the tiny URL to get to the Google form. But yeah, just wanted to push this one more time real clearly, and make sure people know about it, and hit up T-Pen and Discord. All right. Oh, and hey, Makus Yaski, I saw the overlay that he's prepared for T-Pen for this. It is on point. I'm excited. Okay, so here we go. Here's the stuff, man. What's going to happen?
Oh, my God.
What's going to happen?
Part 2.
Well, last week was part 1, but we didn't get into it too deep. So this is... I'm so excited. Okay, so what freaking comes next? And I feel like we're all kind of just kind of in this. Well, we've seen the roadmap. Who knows where things are going? Who knows time wise? We've already kind of seen time wise stuff. I mean, even in that podcast, I think Jiho kind of punted on the Ronin question that was thrown out there to him. I mean, the timeline says Ronin's by the end of the year. I think that's highly likely still. I don't know for sure.
Yep.
The interviewer had his dates wrong, and Jiho let it go. So, but we listen, man. I'm listening. I'm paying attention to time frames and all that type of stuff. So, here's my little Aqua Mystic team. Battles, land, Ronin, and then I didn't put these ones last time, but I think that they're important, and that is it staking? I mean, because people have access already, right? When does that happen? And Project L, yeah, right. So, and there's probably more too.
Well, and then the other one that a lot of people ask about is for the people who have been around for more than a few months, when are we getting our airdrop?
Yeah, for sure.
I want to say that's going to come along with staking, but really we have no idea.
Yeah, I bet in some way it does. I still feel like the retro gift, as Jiho likes to call it, as opposed to the airdrop. I guess I'm not shooting for that to be super soon, but I don't know. I don't know anything about that. I don't know when that's going to happen. I know people are a little bit anxious, but on the other hand, I feel like there's a lot of potential growth, even just early growth and access. So the team may be helping us out by holding that airdrop or retro gift or whatever you want to call it, holding that back. Okay, so looking at the conservative roadmap again, there are a couple things that aren't even on there. Like Project L isn't even discussed on there, right?
Right.
Airdrop isn't even on there, right?
Although Project L, we've heard, is and tell me if I'm mistaken here, but that it's an exhibit of what the SDK can do.
Correct.
Is that accurate?
That's what Trung told me in the interview, and that's pretty much what PsychOut confirmed with us the other day on Axie Chat Extra, which people should check that out too if you haven't. Load up the podcast and listen to Alex, because man, he gave us some great information. Yeah, exciting stuff. But yeah, you look at that first half of 2022 for the actual SDK is on the roadmap plan. So yeah, I agree. Like, I think Project L is probably a ways off, right?
And that's what I'm not so sure about. Again, in the podcast that Jiho just did, and I'm looking at this roadmap and I kind of see there's some space here. There, before we really get a whole lot to play with, and the team does like to give us, they like to space out their announcements. They like to space out kind of their, I don't know, the hype cycle, as I've called it before. There, until end of Q1, we're not supposed to have Axie battles.
Right.
Round two. It almost makes sense that they might give us something a little bit earlier to mess around with. And in this podcast, Jiho mentioned, and I think this is about verbatim. He said again, this was completely unannounced, no reason for him to mention it at all. The podcaster didn't ask him. There was no lead in. He just said, we also have a secret project that is also gameplay related. We'll just leave that as a little bit of a surprise. That's Project L. And then the podcaster asked him more information about Project L, and he completely deflected and moved on to the next thing.
Yeah, he did.
Super interesting. Now, go
Jiho,
back
are
to
you
what we know
still
about.
here? Is there anything you want to add?
Go back to what we know about Jiho, which is he likes dropping little stuff to get people excited for zero reason, just to see if people are paying attention.
Uh-huh.
I'm kind of curious if this is something that's coming sooner than that, that SDK, which is when we had initially thought it would come. Just, I don't know.
Don't know. But definitely worth throwing out there. I loved, because both of you kind of both me and you picked this up after the podcast, and again, it's interesting, the games on the block. The first thing they had on their tweet, I think I got that right, was Secret Project L. First line was what he put out there, which was interesting to me because he kind of tried to follow up on it, and Jiho's kind of like, well, no.
Right. So why even mention it? Why
Right.
mention it if you can't say anything? And again, completely out of the blue.
Right.
Just, and we have a secret project. Hey, how's your new marriage going? Oh, we have a secret project. It's called Project L. Like, what is the point? Where did that come from? This is, again, I think it's classic Jiho. Are they paying attention?
Yeah, I guess we'll see. I would be so surprised if that's what's next. But I mean, stranger things have happened. Like, so again, like, think of what was going on this time last year. And I'll hold off on that though. Hold up. Don't let's not get into that.
All right.
Just yet, okay? So again, thinking about the axis allocation schedule, thinking about the total maximum and what's available right now. It's interesting because we technically have almost 60 million tokens in circulation right now, but that's not correct. Okay, a lot of those are play to earn, right? And a lot of those are ecosystem fund. We did get a list of advisors, which I had missed before, but those are unlocked over time too. Some of those got unlocked as well. But when you look at when you go to Etherscan and you look through what's there, you'll see that a lot of that stuff is just still held in Binance. A lot of that stuff is still held in the vesting address. That stuff has not really moved around a lot. So while I guess it's technically unlocked, it's still kind of all held up. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, they there was a lot released on day one. We still don't know what day one is, other than there's already a decent amount released. We just don't know when they're going to start giving it away. We don't know when play to earn is going to start. I had kind of assumed that maybe, with the last season delay, that they would have started then. Didn't
Yeah.
happen. Um,
Hey,
again,
P4 Puyu said that tweet about land. And dude, totally. Like, when land? Just out of the blue? What? Man, that would.
but again, he likes to edge.
Or maybe even like throwing us off the track, right? Maybe.
Right.
I don't know. It's killing me. But one thing, Odin. Okay, we'll move on. So, Jiho kind of put me on this track. Okay, so this is kind of minor leakage, kind of in a way. I do have baby leak kind of stuff later in a minute, but look at this. Look at this data. You and I talked about this before, and I know Ethereum price has risen, so now we're at 5.2 in the total volume, 5.2 million USD in the past 30 days. But what does this mean? Because one thing we haven't talked a lot about, because I think people still are having a hard time grasping it and understanding what it really is, and that's the community treasury. Okay, so I just wanted to apply numbers directly to this and see what that would mean comparatively as well, across other projects to what we see here in Axie Infinity. Okay, so when we take that volume, 30-day volume, and remember, some of this is driven because we're over 200,000 Axies now, right? So there's lots of Axies being sold. Things are transferring. Things are moving back and forth. We have this market fee of 4.25%. That is planned to go into the community treasury. At the amount in the last 30 days, that amount would be 371 Ethereum. That's incredible. So think of that as being basically a return to all Axis stakeholders, okay? Just in new Axies, and Jiho gave me this number. I didn't look at the contract. But in new Axie fees over the same period, the last 30 days, 161 Ethereum earned in fees for breeding Axies, okay? So I didn't even add that into the next figures that we're going to look at on the next page. So, I mean, that puts us above 500.
Wait, where are you getting that 161 figure?
That's breeding fees for the past 30 days. That's that 0.005 and how many breeds have been done over the past 30 days. Jiho gave me that number.
Okay, gotcha.
You can get it from
crazy.
You can get it from the breeding contract.
So half of the number that we've made in marketplace fees is also come from the breeding. So
nope,
technically,
not
no.
breeding. Those are two.
Oh,
those
I
get
got you.
added together.
So this total volume is also including breeding.
It's not. That's
Oh
just
my God,
marketplace.
I'm so lost.
No, that's just the bonus amount that would go to the community treasury above and beyond what the marketplace transaction fees would be.
Gotcha.
Okay.
All right.
I'm just throwing that out there just for people to noodle on. Okay. So again, for people who are listening, the numbers here, when you take the total amount of volume in the marketplace, which equals 8,750 Ethereum, basically, you multiply that by 4.25%, you get 371.875 as the total return for the fees in that period of time. Plus, for breeding fees in the past 30 days, it's been approximately 161.45 Ethereum as well.
Gotcha.
So
all right, I'm following you now.
So you can pull this up. This was cryptotrader.info or something, I think. But I just wanted to see, like, how does this compare, right? And again, what does this mean? Like, we have all these different projects out there. We know Ethereum's going crazy. So these are 1 day and 7 days that I have up here. Ethereum itself, and this is just the fees generated from transactions that take place in these different spaces, okay? So gas fees, whatever fees are involved. Ethereum itself for 1 day, because of what's been happening, is 3.5 million, okay? And I'm not exactly sure, but the average daily for the last 7 days has been 2.7 million for Ethereum. And then you look at Uniswap itself, 1.275 million in fees just from Uniswap. Guys, think about that. That's incredible. But what kills me is Bitcoin, the king. The fees generated from Bitcoin transactions are less than a third of what's happening in Ethereum. So I guess, like, what's the more useful token, right? I guess we all already have known for a while, but look at that. So I don't, Axie Infinity, the fees generated are not going to compare with those big those big kings, right? But what they will is where does it fit on this list? Because these are the highest fees generated, okay? So and these are just huge projects out there like OX, even Litecoin's listed down here, Curve, Binance Chain, so forth. So we take that number, 371.875 ETH. We multiply it by the current price. That gives us 223K, basically, USD. And look at this. You divide that by 30, and you're at 7,437. So look at this list. Like, that's between Curve and OX. That's pretty incredible for something that's pre-release, generating potential returns to go into the community treasury, which are going to be similar to returns to the community, right?
Listen, as long as we're better than Ripple, I'm happy.
Look at where Ripple is.
I know it's terrible.
Ridiculous, right? So
not investment advice at all.
I'm just saying, like, you look at some of these that are well known, Litecoin, Ripple, we're multiples ahead of the fees generated by those entire chains.
Yeah, and we're still growing, and that's only going to be adjusted upwards, hopefully, as we keep growing. If we look at just today, the total marketplace volume was like $5,000. So you take your 4% of that, and
Right.
and we're way lower. So
Sure.
obviously this is adjusted upward because of some of the big sales in the past, and
Yep.
I think you do have to take into account the occasional double, triple mystic and the land sales and all that sort of stuff when you're looking at these numbers, because those aren't going to happen every single day. So I think you have a point there.
They're not. I completely agree.
Just something to take into account if you're going to go look at the daily volume and do the math yourself.
Oh, and I think
but
people
I think
should.
You're right.
But
again,
I
think you are right here.
Remember, we're pre-release, right? What
Right.
happens when something drops?
Well, dude, in the last 3 months, we've doubled the total number of Axie holders. Look how many, like 50,000 Axies have been created in the last couple months. Just bread. If you look at 3 months out from here, and we continue somewhat similar trajectory, this is only going to keep going up. So yeah, I'm 100% with you. This is awesome.
Anyway, it's just a comparative thing. For me, I just kind of wanted to get a sense of where does it stand? Like, where does Axie Infinity stand in terms of fee generation? And
Right.
Again, I'm not very good at the DeFi style of analysis. But when you look at the DeFi analysis here, like, Axie Infinity is already doing pretty good. And again, this is novice. I'm not saying I'm super good at any of this analysis, but it is worth looking at, especially when you think of what it means for Axis holders and a community treasury. Okay. So when we this is the next thing I wanted to point out. So moving completely on, what happened during this period of time last year?
It's funny you bring this up. I was just looking into that literally today before while I was preparing for this. Just again, trying to figure out what's next, and you're reading my mind.
So last year in December, we had the marketplace update. There were the visual upgrades for the Mystic Axies that were employed. We had the community alpha dropped. Battling happened. And we had the Christmas surprise.
Yep.
So, I wasn't here. I just went back and looked because I was trying to figure out, like, what happens during this time of year. And people who were here the year before, I think things happened this time of year too, right before Christmas. back
it
in.
was it was a flurry of events.
Yeah,
Because I started the year prior when land was released, or when the initial land sale happened. I stayed engaged for maybe a month or two, and nothing really happened. Updates did not come as fast as they do now back then.
right.
And then you know all this. I think I got engaged again around Thanksgiving, so right about now last year. And then Christmas hit, and yeah, the new battles version released. The breeding. I mean,
SLP
dude,
came out.
this Discord was SLP was a little bit later.
Yeah,
Um,
that's what I was just gonna
but
say. Yep.
yeah, I mean, Discord was in a frenzy with this whole breeding project because of the frosty bodies was like a huge goal for people to breed.
Yep.
And the marketplace, the old marketplace was, I don't want to call it garbage, but it is above and beyond what it was, what
And
it
it,
is
it
now.
needs improved still. There's still things you should be able to do more searching. There should be better tools for sure.
But I
Um,
think it goes to show you, like, that's the sort of thing that enables new growth and enables new people to come and spend money. The more professional the marketplace looks, the more professional the project looks, and people are able to find what they're looking for easier, and whatever. But before it was just axes, and then they included land, and they included items and all this other stuff, which wasn't really available prior.
so again, based on the last few Axie chats, our last conversations, I'm not really I'm not really feeling like there's stuff gonna be happening outside of that roadmap.
But all of this stuff was a surprise, and we had zero roadmap
That's
going into
that's
it.
my point. I mean,
And
I'm not
and
trying
I'm
to
not
overly
saying,
hype people.
well, this is, I have to say it because I can't tell you that this stuff's going to happen. I can't tell you that
No.
they're going to keep the surprises coming, because they did put out a roadmap, and we have had a shit ton of releases, excuse my language,
Yep.
over the last 2 months.
At least
You know,
information drops. Yeah, but we had
right?
Axis. I mean, we've had lots of stuff happen.
We've had a lot of stuff going on,
White
but
paper.
for them to throw some more new stuff at us, like, the part of me who's been around since late 2018 would be very surprised. The part of me that's been around for the last couple months would not. I don't know.
All I put it out there is a possibility. I just I got thinking about it. I got feeling like I've been really downplaying the possibility that that something was going to happen fairly soon. And I don't know. I guess I want to give it a fair shake because it feels like things have historically happened this time of year with the team, and it kind of makes sense. Things have been building for a while, but I don't know. Anyway, that's just kind of a fun sidetrack. If it was something like what got released here, you know, um, that would tell me like Ronin is kind of like the marketplace upgrade, maybe. Community Alpha makes me feel like land. Christmas Surprise, Project L, question mark. I don't know. That's a lot to hope for. That's a lot to think is possible within the next month.
And again, the stuff last time came out of left field. We had zero idea, and they just kind of threw it all at us at once. So
Anyway,
I don't. Yeah,
I'm
it'd be
hopeful.
cool. It'd be
I want
cool,
to
but
I
I'm
want to
not. I'm
keep
not
that
overly.
Christmas holiday time hope alive. So there we go.
And you know what? Gamers in and of themselves, and I hope they don't miss this, but if you go to like any like large game, like if you go to an Overwatch, or if you go to a
Yep.
WoW, or you go to
Just did
anything,
Shadowlands.
people love their holiday events.
Yep.
They love the Halloween, they love the Christmas time. Like, people like their special stuff. So,
Yep.
hopefully they realize that, and give us something. But if not, again, we've had a lot going on,
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah. And,
it wouldn't hurt me too much.
yep. And there's a roadmap. I mean, the one thing I do anticipate is Ronin by the end of the year, just based on the roadmap. So, okay. Well, hopefully that was fun. I had fun. Hopefully, I didn't get people too excited. I'm not trying to be Jiho here.
I don't know. You look like an older Jiho.
Awesome. Right on. Okay, so let's go through the marketplace, man. And this is no, nothing's wrong. I'm just saying, like, his tendency to edge. Like, I like just giving people the information straight as much as I can. Jiho, he likes to have fun with it. There's nothing wrong
And
with being Jiho.
and hey, I see Cloud White in chat saying we demand new holiday skins. Jiho did say in chat that
No
he has
Christmas.
it on good authority that there's no Christmas skins. So I don't know if that's him using selective language, and maybe we'll get some sort of other holiday skin, a little Kwanzaa Hanukkah,
Yeah, yeah.
or whatever.
Right.
But you know, it either won't happen, or maybe we'll get something fresh and new. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. God, if he just threw Wenland out there, wow. Anyway, okay. I'm not gonna get into that. Okay, so marketplace, and again, Ethereum price is going up. To be honest, like, prices I thought would slide even maybe more with the rise of Ethereum. They just relaxed a little bit. The big one you see there is Mystic. It's a skinny floor. I think there's just a couple of them that are below 3 Ethereum. But it did reduce somewhat at that high end. And again, I think that's probably because Ethereum price is so high right now in USD, right?
Yeah, I think some people are trying to catch the train. The things that I'm surprised about, even more so, because I mean, it makes sense. If something pumps, people move assets and try and catch it. But Savannah's going up. Like, who would have guessed that? I would have expected Savannah and Mystic maybe to stay the same, just for reasons that we've talked about in the past, right?
Right.
Savannah's cheap and easy to get into, so if you want a piece of land, like, there's your chance. Mystics is the high tier, so if you want to invest in something that's rare and supposedly has better production, there's your chance.
Yep.
But I'm surprised that the Arctic and Forest are holding their ground. Like, those ones are the ones that I kind of expected to slip first, and doing pretty good.
Yeah. So again, like, if you can scratch up point 0.5 for a Savannah, like, I highly recommend you consider scratching up another point 0.1 and grabbing a Forest.
Right.
Um, just looking at the multipliers from chest, just kind of be wise. Think about that, guys. And yeah, I know that cheaper and easier to get makes some sense. It's always good to be an owner. I'm not gonna discount that at all, but just the likely value multiplier probably ought to look at Forest at a minimum, right? And again, Forest relaxed, so it's a little bit less. When you look at those multipliers, again, you kind of see Arctic as being a pretty good deal if you can swing it, though. Mystic right now, if you can get that floor, if it's even still there after we've talked about it, that's as good a deal as we've seen for weeks, right?
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I keep thinking about all this stuff. So yeah, people are trying to catch the ETH train while it's still rising, I think. Um, but what's going to happen again, if you look at the catalysts that are coming up, what happens is there's a big marketing push, some new news comes out, and a bunch of new people flood in and don't want to miss the boat. And floors right now are super thin. All it'll take is like maybe 6 buys, and Mystic will be back up to 4.
Correct.
Um,
That is
so
exactly right.
we have one good push, and these things are all flying. And again, none of what I say is marketing advice, but
Yeah.
I've always or
Doesn't do us
investment
any good.
advice. But you're right. But I'm not selling anyways. But
Right.
I always try and tell people, if you don't have any land, I'd at least try and get one, just to be involved when the thing comes out. And while there's a little bit of lull right now, might be the best time.
Right.
That's
Right.
my opinion.
Yep. I'm especially if when land means actually soon. I really doubt we'll see anything anywhere near these prices. But never know. Never know. How many times have I said that I don't think land will be much cheaper? I think I've said that many, many times. Right here, we see a little bit of relax. We've talked about that, though. We think that it's going to, level out a little bit before releases. But once release, all bets are off. Okay. So Genesis, hey, came down a little bit. Just 5 ETH down. at the lowest. Still have, so we have an 80 ETH Genesis plot and a 100 ETH Genesis plot are the lowest
Yeah.
too.
And hey, I want to go back to something you just said
Yeah.
about when land's released, all bets are off. You know, again, right now, if people are selling because they think that there's a better investment opportunity elsewhere,
Where? What?
that's land in general,
No, I
anything really.
know. Yep.
But if people are selling because they think that there's a better investment elsewhere, when land comes out, it's going to change the game
Yep.
because it's going to provide income.
Yeah.
And once you have income, then the question is okay, if you're liquidating to have capital, you're getting that anyways by owning the land.
Yep.
Just again, something to think about. But these are the things that are on my mind. Is when land's
There's
out, the reasons to liquidate become a lot smaller.
there is a giant play to earn allocation in the white paper. Just remember that. A giant, like a 10 million over the next 6 months. And I don't know how that goes, but it's got to get distributed somewhere. I assume land, I assume battling, I assume all these things. But it is going to have to be distributed, and it's going to have to be distributed relatively early for it to make sense because there's
Right.
more that gets unlocked later.
Right.
Has to happen. All right. I haven't yet, Rice. So we'll keep going through the floor. So here we go. Just the Axie floor is actually increased. We talked about that. It seems to kind of hover between 0.04 and 0.06. The change to energy seems to have driven it up a little bit, right?
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I thought it would go up a little bit more. I'm kind of, a part of me is surprised that they did that, just purely based on what Jiho said in the past about the ideal price for an Axie being, I want to say, I forget what he exactly phrased that, but it equated to be like, $7, $8, $9 or something like that per Axie, right? Does that sound familiar?
Yeah.
So, they're making these changes, which the intention is to prevent people from, multi-boxing, scamming the SLP system, all this sort of stuff, raising experience too fast, going into adventure mode and, getting some of those rewards for beating bosses. Um, they're making these changes to prevent that sort of stuff, but what they're doing or what they did, and I like the change. I think it actually gives a good benefit to holding more Axies. It's good for the entire community.
Yeah.
But if they're going to try and keep the starting price down that low, something else is going to have to give, and I'm not sure if that's maybe you still have to pay for the game when Soulbound comes into play.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
expecting Soulbound is more of just let you see how the game goes, but you're probably not going to be able to earn hardly anything, if anything, with Soulbound Axies. At least that's my guess.
Right,
Who knows?
but my point is they can't take these current prices, which are $30 a piece for an Axie, and just suddenly drop them, 80%.
Yeah, no, 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 no,
That wouldn't be fair.
no.
So they would have to do something else to get the price back into that sweet spot, which Jiho mentioned that he was aiming for personally.
Yeah, and I
So
think he was hopeful on that in a way, and I think that he maybe has even moved back from that because I've heard him talk more
maybe.
in the 0.04, 0.05 ETH range, which is where we're at. And this move, and you tell me what you think about this, but this move seems to protect that price range, not encourage it to drop.
And that's true. And the whole ETH increase has certainly made the prices in US dollar shift quite
Yeah,
dramatically.
yeah.
So
It,
I don't know. There's a lot of different factors, and maybe that's the case to not peg it to ETH in the future and peg it to whatever your local currency is, which is part of the goal as well. But
sure.
um, yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't. We'll see. That's a great conversation. I really like thinking about that stuff. I personally, I think having I don't believe really in free to play. I just don't. I think people, especially in this type of situation, they should really have to invest to get a return. In my opinion, I don't mind seeing people experience the game for free so they have an idea of what it's like, which Soulbound seems to solve. Free to try, like Ed said in chat. I totally am I'm down with that. But if you really want to participate, if you really want to benefit, you got to put some skin in the game, in my view. But
Well,
it's
you
easy,
you go
easy
to
for me to
you go
say.
you go to Disneyland, you buy a pass to ride the roller coasters. You know,
Exactly.
you're going to pay for the experience. So, I mean,
Correct.
it all depends on what they want the overall experience to be and how they want to bring new people into it.
Yep. And they seem to be protecting the floor based on the moves that they're. And yeah, so Rice says again, and you and I talked to Psych out about it. Like, money comes from somewhere. Every input has an output, or every output had an input. So yeah, it's got to happen that way. Okay, so continuing on, Mystics. Um, Again, I'm assuming this is because of the Ethereum price at present, value increasing. So mystics have single mystics have kind of relaxed a little, down to 5.5, 5.8 ETH are the two at the floor.
Yep. And you know, the other thing to mention too is they've relaxed in ETH price, but they've actually gone up in US dollar price.
And I'm telling you, like, oh, that's right. Yeah, you look at it that way, it's increased. That beast is freaking awesome. Oh man, that is a cool. That's a cool beast. I like that one. Holy cow, that's a defensive bugger. Wow. Okay.
All right,
All
Baronar is
right.
going to sign off real quick and
Yeah,
break out his
I'll be
wallet,
right back.
everyone.
Oh, if I didn't already have all the mystics I could handle. Anyway, all right. So double mystics actually increased. It went up about 2 ETH from 21 to 23. Triple mystics, we saw some sales, which was awesome. The floor right now is 190 ETH, which right now, as
Which
I
is
took this
Greg.
shot, it is Greg, and it's just, I guess they're trying to flip Greg. Is that what it is?
A little flipperoo. Yeah, well, who knows?
I guess
Um,
that's 30 ETH that they're trying to flip it for.
yeah, and you know, again, the floor is just getting thinner here. We're going to be in a situation real quick where these triple mystics are completely off the market, and then the double
Yep.
mystics are going to have to pick up the slack. So, you
Yep.
know, that's going to be interesting to see too once real investors pick these guys up and don't want to let them go.
Yeah, and wait till we see the actual implementation of Mystic Axes on land, and then find out that it's even more than we could possibly imagine, and then all of a sudden things get really crazy. Ah, fun stuff to think about. Okay, here are the items. Item floor is basically kind of stayed the same. Mystics relaxed a little as well, but pretty much stayed the same. They just came down basically half an no 0.05 of an ETH. Um, and the other ones basically stayed the same except for rare. I wanted to point out rare. Um, Last week it was 0.008 ETH, the floor for rare. Rares, people have realized the incredible value that they have, even though there's a lot of them. It's not a rarity thing, which is weird that rares are more common than commons. But the actual stats they provide are really quite good. And I think that what's happened here is people have started to realize that. And so now the floor has increased, almost doubled to 0.015 as opposed to 0.008.
Yep. And you know, I think it's pretty well known my feelings towards these items in general, and you too. You've own a lot of them as
Oh,
well.
yeah.
Um, I was seeing somebody in chat today talking about their thoughts about, you know,
Rarity.
whether or not, well, rarity and whether or not these would get recreated.
Right.
And
That's what I
they kind
meant.
of
Yep.
had the same thoughts as I do, which is, you know, these were created initially in chests in the initial land sale. It doesn't necessarily make sense for them to re-release these. These might be a one-time offer for all we know.
Yep.
You know, if you look at some of the images that have been released recently, there's a lot more items that aren't related to this stuff at all. So, yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, again, we got to wait to find out for the next land sale and for gameplay, but um, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
Just throwing it
to
out
me it
there.
seems like there's no incentive to release more of these. There's zero actually. And I think if that were put to a DAO style vote, that's what the result would be. You know, why would we dilute the uniqueness of these particular items. So plus, with the crafting, smelting, recycling methods that have been talked about already by Trung and others, there's going to be some. I mean, I actually pulled out Stardew Valley again, just kind of to mess around, because I know that the team has talked about that. I just kind of wanted to see
Yeah,
a
I
little.
love that game.
Yeah, it's so fun. But to me, that makes sense. Like there are going to be opportunities to recycle, move these things into other items, improve them, or whatever. I don't know how that's going to work, but I am fairly confident that your low level cactuses are going to be able to have some usefulness in terms of just craftable resources for buildings or for other items too. Alrighty, so this is where we're headed. Just in case you didn't know, Axis, the blood moon is rising. It's headed to the moon. Okay, so yeah, I said it. So I
Oh
do
my
have a
God.
little baby leak city that we could talk about.
Not fully grown, still sprouting.
Yeah, it's a pre leak. I'll be honest, it's a pre leak. But what I was told and given authority to talk about is, so again, the community treasury is something people need to be thinking about. And Jiho specifically said that they're going to be releasing some information about the community treasury tomorrow. So as in not
Wow.
today but tomorrow. So
Y-
I'm crossing my fingers that this actually comes to be, because
Yo.
I was allowed to discuss this. So yeah, it's an announcement of an announcement, exactly. Okay, but that's the best leak I'm gonna be able to get, right? But
You know, it's funny because I was looking back at like when I was gathering news for this week and trying to, and even, after we did the podcast last week, of course he dropped new news like the day after the podcast. Like they waited. They
yeah,
waited on us.
I
They didn't
know.
want us being the ones releasing it.
Yeah,
So they
on the
made us,
energy. Yeah,
they gave us a whole week to stew in it. And of course they do the same thing this week. I freaking knew it. But that's awesome. I'm looking forward to,
yeah.
man, anything about the treasury is huge.
I think it is huge. And again, going through some of that analysis that I showed, like what the fees are. Again, I don't know how the community treasury is going to be voted on how that will be used, but some
Hmm.
percentage of it's likely to come back to the community members that actually hold access and are involved with it. So it's going to be beneficial. Um,
Sure.
and honestly, all I see is, again, we have a low right now. I don't know what's going to happen for sure. My guess is, though, once releases happen, once there's all these tokens for resources, once all that stuff is out there, fees aren't
Hmm.
going down. They're going up. There's going to be a fee to craft things. Hopefully it's minor, but it's going to be handled through Ronin, so there'll be some amount of a fee. All I
Sure.
see is that community treasury is going up, 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 up. And people who are staked in and can benefit from that community treasury, it's going to be awesome. So I can't wait to find out what Jiho's going to let us know about the community treasury, and I'm just excited. I'm so excited to see what happens. Um, and who knows? I don't know that anything's going to happen the rest of this month. Um, but yeah, I guess we're gonna find out more tomorrow. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. At least there was some new uh, at least some precursor to new information coming. Um, but I'm excited about having more information about the community treasury, because that's part of it that I've tried to pick apart the white paper. I've tried to understand exactly what's there, and it's still kind of vague to me. How did you feel? How do you feel about that, Enjoy?
About what? The community treasury?
Yeah, yeah. What we have so far about it.
Um, I don't know. I don't think it's vague.
Guidelines.
I think it's a pretty simple concept. Fees go into the treasury, and it's split out depending on, the treasury is going to keep growing over time, and portions are going to get split out among the player base. The more important thing I think is actually reading through that Delphi Excel
Yeah,
document
yeah.
to see how it's actually split out. Not necessarily easy to read or take in. It's not hard either, but it takes a little bit of thinking. But I again go through there and look at kind of some of the time frames and their estimates on when this stuff's splitting out, and try and figure out, how much is actually going to be coming out to the player base. And I think me and you actually need to do that a little bit more in depth and
Yeah, yeah.
try and make some realistic estimates based, how much uh, access you own is going to net you this much. I think we'll actually be able to determine that if we really dig deep.
Yeah, I think
Again,
some of
based on
that's
their estimates, but we got
yeah,
to take the
as far
time to
as
really
staking
get in
rewards,
there.
yeah. But
Yeah.
but on the community treasury side, it still feels it still seems like it's so much up to the community voting, to the access holders who've staked and their ability to vote to determine exactly what's going to happen with the treasury itself. Um, that
All
I'm
right.
I'm excited to hear more.
So let's make a guess. What do you think's going to happen tomorrow? What are they going to leak?
Good golly, like maybe that all fees from tomorrow going forward are going to go to the community treasury as opposed to back to the team.
All right.
I don't know.
That was potentially what I was thinking as well, or something similar to that.
Right.
My other thought might be on somewhat governance related, and maybe making some proposals to the community. It's not necessarily treasury related, but I could see it being associated.
Right. Could so maybe some governance ideas already. Although I'm feeling like looking at who holds the tokens right now. I,
Yeah.
it sounds like Binance will make all the decisions. Of course, I'm sure they don't have voting rights connected with those tokens, but
We're gonna feel so stupid tomorrow. It's
yeah,
definitely neither of those things.
I
But
know we
anyways,
have
it's
no
fun.
clue, no clue at all. Excited to see what tomorrow will bring. I'm hopeful, like I said before, that maybe this is ushering in kind of a season of releases. Could you imagine if we're actually playing some land by Christmas time?
Oh my God, I've got the next couple of days off. Jiho, bring it to me for Thanksgiving. Then I'll be thankful.
Yeah, I mean, I I occasionally kind of pry, and it feels like, I mean, I was super glad to be able to get kind of this nugget. At least there's something. At least there's something. But God, feels like things are quiet.
No,
All,
I'm
all is
psyched.
quiet.
I feel like we've been spoiled with news, and
Yep.
now it just needs to keep coming. So I'm glad to hear that there's no lull. We're gonna keep going and moving forward. And dude, even the energy thing, like that couldn't have been a quick fix. They
No,
they've
man.
spent time putting that into place. So they're working on stuff we have no idea in the background, and all of
Yep.
this stuff's just good reminders that stuff's moving.
And they have some strategies in mind to protect value, and they've always said that's
Sure.
a huge important part of it is protect early adopters, protect value, and all of that makes perfect sense to me. And again, guys, I'm sorry, but I'm not trying to be a downer again, but you can't have any expectation that you could come into this game free and be able to participate to the level of people who've put hundreds, thousands of dollars into this economy. So everybody, and Jiho's actually said too, and I think it's important. Like that doesn't mean you can't work. I mean, there's these great scholarship programs. There's great stuff out there that gives you, I guess you could call it upward mobility. And the cool thing about it too is like there it, you can you AK has had people who've graduated and they've bought their Axies and stuff. So that exists. So take advantage of what's there, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Alrighty. Okay, well, so it was a long way around to what will Noble November bring. We've had a lot of things that came out in Noble November, which is freaking awesome. We still have a few days left. Sounds like we'll get a little bit more information. Um, but yeah, I think we've kind of come to the end, man.
Noble November. Noble November. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Um,
So yeah,
I'm
just so
looking
you
forward to
know,
all of
our
it.
next Axie Chat's actually December. In
It's
case
crazy.
yeah, December 1st.
When do we start this up?
God, this is episode 13 with two additional Axie Chat extras
I'm gonna
along the
find
way.
out. I'm going back right now.
That's
We launched the
crazy.
first one on September 7th.
September, October,
School
November.
wasn't even in session yet. Yeah, man, we're
Wow.
cruising.
That's incredible.
Cool.
Well, I'm having a good time. I apologize for the lectures. It's the old man coming out in me, I guess. But hang in there, guys. I think this is going to be awesome. I'm excited for the wild ride that Axie Infinity is going to be, and I appreciate everybody who's hanging out with us in Axie Chat. Hopefully, you're having a good time. And we're trying our best to keep you updated on the most cutting edge information that we can find, keeping you on the Axie edge. Yeah, yeah. So thank you.
Dude, and we've gotten a few questions in chat. Remember to send those ahead of time. If you've got stuff that comes up across the week, I try to write them down as I see them come up in Discord so we can address them, or I can write up an article on Axie Edge. But if you want us to specifically answer your question on stream, send us a tweet, ask us in Discord. We'll write it down. We'll bring it here. Obviously, we're live with this every Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. This should be up midday tomorrow on all podcast platforms. The replay is live on Twitch and Twitter. Go back and watch the one with Indus. The thing was phenomenal. Dude's really a champion all around. I don't know. You got anything else to add?
No, man, I think we're good. There's plenty to come. Looking forward to seeing what comes in the next few weeks. And
A lot
again,
of guests coming up. We got Axies to
yep,
talk to. Maybe a duck
I
face
hope
to
so.
bring in chat.
Thanks. Duckface chimes in at the very end. So again, guys, remember we're building a new freaking digital nation here, and let's I love comments, I love questions. Let's keep pushing and asking questions, and nothing helps us out better than having feedback and comments and so forth. So the things you like, let us know. The things we can improve and things you'd like us to focus on. We love hearing that type of information too. So please stay in touch with us. We're both in the Discord, easy to get with. And yeah, I mean, I'm one thing I'm excited about, Enjoi, is
What's
how
that?
many new people still just keep popping up in the Discord.
Dude, every day. And the even cooler thing, and I don't want to keep dragging this out, but the cooler thing is that those people are replacing the old people, and answering questions for the next breed, that's coming in the week after. So, people are learning, they're liking what they're seeing, and they're helping out the next generation, which I think is awesome.
Yep. Yeah, everybody hang in there. Again, NFA, but have strong hands. Hang in there. In the end, like even in the roadmap, like you got to be able to hang on for a couple months, right? So I know it's a temptation. Ethereum is rising, but God, I hope it just seems to me like you'd want to wait and see how the actual release goes. So anyway, yeah.
All right, we're cutting it.
Right on. We're done. Hey, thanks everybody.
All
Great
right,
fun
see y'all.
time. Good night. Hey, have a great night
Have a
in
great
Lunasia.
day. Lunasia.
Yep.
See
See
you guys.
y'all.
Bye.